Oh, wonderful. I love that transition, Joe. Sorry, I have to say that on screen. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this, our inaugural episode of Iron and Thorn. I am your GM this evening, but not most, Cara McDonough, and with me today are my friends, Vincent, Joe, Alanna, and Hannah. And we're going to play a special system. We're going to play Old Gods of Appalachia for the Cypher System. Old Gods of Appalachia is an amazing horror anthology podcast created by Cam Collins and Steve Shell, and they developed this setting for Montecook's Cypher System. This is our first time playing this system, so get ready to learn the rules with us as we go.
I definitely don't have the rules up right on my phone right now because I'm still a little confused.
I bought the digital PDF of the rulebook and not the physical copy. Sorry. Old Gods of Appalachia is set in an alternate version of Appalachia, or Appalachia for those of us in New England, which is wrong, apparently.
Wait, who says Appalachia?
Anyone who doesn't know that it's Appalachia?
Oh.
I've heard people argue out this on the internet. And
Vincent says it. He said it last night.
Thank you, public school
There's the
education.
Appalachian Mountains. I don't know.
It's the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Shows how much we know about that location. But this is set in an alternate version of Appalachia, a place near and dear to the author's hearts. Cam Collins and Steve Shell are from the Appalachian region. What we've done is we've taken this setting and created an alternate New England, because I am not from Appalachia, I'm not familiar with the area, so I figured let's do something that we're familiar with. Far from the academic halls of Cambridge and old world bustle of Boston, we're traveling west, deeper into Massachusetts, where dense forests and wetlands trap secrets in mazes of pools and branches. Stolen land now occupied by those who do not know or care to know the rights and traditions that keep their children safe from the things that sleep beneath and those that are lost. It is to these woods that men of industry turned their hungry gaze, seeking to harness the power of rivers for their own designs. From the mills in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, spreading north through the Blackstone Valley to Lowell, Waltham, and the Merrimack Valley, our story begins in Eastbridge, Massachusetts. The Grayson Mill has been operating in Eastbridge since the 1830s and had been the seeds that started the multi-factory business of Grayson and Sons. The folks of Eastbridge were hard-working farming families who didn't mind sharing their section of the Miller's River overmuch, as long as they had water for their gardens, orchards, and animals. And wow, that's real loud.
Yeah, it got loud very quickly. That happens sometimes.
It does
Sirens
happen sometimes. A digital tool set.
Yeah.
They saw no problem with the construction of a loud, shiny new textile mill. Richard Grayson even helped fund new businesses and housing projects in town, to the ire of the pre-existing general stores and markets. But that's history, folks. Now it's June 1922. Workers at the Royal Mill in West Warwick, Rhode Island, have been striking since January, protesting yet another 20% pay cut and doubling of workload. But word travels slowly through the company mill towns of the valleys, and on this afternoon, we look to the local cemetery. A small but well-kept place of peace and quiet, owned by the church but tended by a rather large and quiet man. Stepping out from the tool shed with shovel in hand, doing his daily rounds before dark. Alanna, would you please describe your character?
So, Dennis Popla, he's a tall dude. He's got rather wide shoulders, but unfortunately age has kind of thinned him out a little bit. He looks more like a scarecrow nowadays than a linebacker. And he's got really well-tailored, but very old clothing. It's a three-piece suit that he insists on wearing, including his scally cap. And he keeps it clean as best he can, but it's definitely seen better days. He's got a large shovel that he carries with him on his rounds, making sure to keep the graveyard a peaceful, quiet place. He's got a craggy face, late 40s.
Thank you. Dennis, you're heading out on your rounds, just making sure everything is locked up tight before the evening. It's a place where local kids will sometimes like to hang out, away from the prying eyes of adults, because, let's face it, the woods are a little bit deep and dark. Especially during these hot, muggy months. One thing that comes to your mind as you're walking through is the fact that you've had to dig a few more graves as of late. Workloads have been increasing, which means more frequency of accidents, and some of these quite deadly. Workers of an age generally between late 20s, early 20s, and younger. You know that Ms. Matilda Stone, the headmistress of the local school, has seen a decline in classroom attendance as more children and more teens head off to work. Some of them are able to escape because we have the lovely Grayson Orchards, a wonderful time of year between June and October where the apple trees need tending. Thankfully, some of the older kids are able to go there. The younger kids not being tall enough to reach the branches. As you're walking through, what are you thinking about?
So, at this point, he's mostly focused on keep an eye, making sure no one's accidentally coming through. It's been kind of dangerous around here nightly recently, so while his eyes are scanning the graves, they're also looking around for anything that seems misplaced, but also checking to see if anyone laid any new flowers out or anything. He wants to make sure that if someone puts a gift out, that it gets appreciated.
And there's certainly many flowers on some of the newer holes that you've had to dig. Small little stones carved with dates that are far too short. And as you head back towards some of the older graves, you come onto some of the more venerable members of society that you may or may not have had dealings with. Go ahead, and you're going to give me the first roll of our campaign.
Dealings.
I'm excited.
Also, Cara, could you pass me some dice because all of mine are over there?
I would love to pass you some dice.
I'm really not used to having to have
How about
things.
I just pass you this whole thing right
thank
here?
Man, this is a beautiful dice tray.
Yeah, I wonder who made that.
Oh my god, the best DM, one of the best DMs we have.
And this is going to be an intellect roll. And it's going to be a perception-based task.
Okay. So, I am trained in perception.
So the difficulty is going to be a level 1 difficulty, which means your target is a 3.
Okay. So, I take my roll.
So if you are trained...
Yes, I brought to write down.
So if you're trained in a task, you can ease it by 1, which basically means you didn't have to roll.
Oh, okay. I will ease it by 1 because I rolled.
Cool. Well, you didn't have to roll, so we're gonna say you didn't.
Mulligan.
We're gonna pretend like that never.
That never happened. I never heard
great.
any
It just
dice
goes away.
get rolled. That one will go in jail. Jail is right there.
It usually rolls well, but I'm also not playing Minka, so maybe it knows.
I didn't
so
realize
I
they stayed there between sessions.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
My dice are notoriously bad rollers,
I
which
live
might
here.
be nice for this type of game because you will never see me roll for this game. All of the rolling is for the players to do. So, yay. 1 minor thorn for that.
It's fine.
But easily succeeding on this, you are well versed in the layout of your domain, as it were, the cemetery. And one thing you notice as you get closer to the older graves is some of the older graves seem to have gifts on them. These were formerly unattended graves. They did not have any visitors, long forgotten. Members, some of the founding members, the founding families, farming families all, of the town of what is now known as Old Eastbridge. Small little dolls on 3 of the graves.
Is the text of the grave still legible?
I would say, without even rolling, you do know that some of these graves are indeed legible. You see one of them with the last name of Sullivan, with the ending date sometime in 1835. Another one with the last name of O'Keefe, ending date of 1802. And one whose name has been wiped away.
Upon seeing the dolls, Dennis will kind of stop and like look at them and gently go over and like make sure that they're sitting up. You know, they didn't fall over. They're sitting against the grave nice. And then before he leaves each one, he'll like cross himself real quick and then go on his way, but probably a little bit slower and a little bit more carefully.
Do you touch the dolls?
If any of them have fallen over, he'll straighten them out.
They all seem to be sitting up.
Alright.
They seem in well attendance.
Okay.
Looking at them closer, they all seem to be of a sort of an older variety. All hand sewn, made of some coarse fabrics. Seem to be stuffed with some kind of straw. All tied with a bright red thread.
Okay. So if they're all sitting nice, he won't touch them because they're offerings. He doesn't want to mess with someone else's offering. But he will still cross himself. Just you know.
Go ahead and give me an intellect roll, and this will be surrounding magic, something you have an inability of. So that means this is a level 3 task.
Okay.
Made more difficult by your inability, so a level 4. In Cypher System, you have levels of difficulty with 0 through 10, and you multiply that by 3 to get your target number. So a level 4 difficulty would be needing to get a 12.
Oh, I rolled a natural 20.
Hey, nice, wonderful. When a natural 20 happens, extra good things happen, especially in combat. So we get, if you're in combat and you get a natural 20, you get +4 to damage for attacks or a major effect, or you refund all pool points spent on an action. For this, however, we are going to give Dennis some extra information. Dennis, as you get close to the dolls and you turn your back on them, looking to continue your rounds, you get that sense. Dennis, you have this sense when you walk the graveyards. The sense that sometimes things don't stay where they belong. The graves are undisturbed, so you know you don't have to punch anybody. And you don't have to try and negotiate the good old buddies back into their graves. But there's something wrong. A deep wrongness. These dolls, maybe not offerings. And the red thread sticks in your mind, something that's holding them together, tied at the wrists and the neck. That's not a bow. It's a knot. And that's mostly what you know about such things. You know that if you want to know something about knots, you have some dealings with the kid. who, likes to go fishing and has excursions and might be a little bit flighty. But for things that speak of wrongness, that need solving, you have to speak with the headmistress. And we are going to move away from Dennis Pop. We are going to find the better music that we have. The nicer music. Someday I will have my sound set fully ready for me.
It's really hard. I find Sirenscape. One other thing, while you're doing that, what is the difference between the total and the little kind of like mechanical tracker on the top?
So the mechanical, we have fun little trackers.
They're super cool.
They're so cool.
my
Cara
God.
worked
Yeah.
so hard on them.
I feel like the worst DM. This is so much cooler.
Stop that.
It's okay.
we're gonna get an
Your
expo
narrations are much better than mine.
Total current mountain.
So
Gotcha.
the little trackers are part of your pool. The pool being points that you can spend to ease your tasks and whatnot, but also your hit points.
Right.
So they will decrease, they will increase, and I swear I will find where my cheat sheets went so you can have those in front of you
No worries.
for next sessions.
Fine.
Or maybe on the break.
Oh, I have a printer, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Double digits.
Ouch. That's mean. I like that. I'm putting
So
that-
we're going to move from this eerie place with this sense of wrongness to somewhere a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more still and calm. Because school is out and the little ones have gone home.
Oh, it feels so good.
And we're going to look to a schoolhouse. At the edge of the square of Old Eastbridge, the former main section of town, but no longer, ever since the development of the company town just across the river. Where Matilda Stone, headmistress of the Eastbridge School, is cleaning up after a long day working. The schoolhouse itself is situated at the edge of the town square, an old yet neatly kept little building with whitewashed walls and a small bell tower at the peak of its gabled roof. Lining the edge of the schoolyard is a stone wall and neat rows of flowers and growing things. 2 trees that stand like sentinels guard the building on either side, a slow-growing juniper bush and a massive oak tree with a well-loved rope swing for the children. Currently cleaning up what was a lovely growing tomato plant and is now sadly no longer, thanks to the actions of one John Edward Sullivan, the oldest Sullivan boy. We see the headmistress. Headmistress Matilda Stone, also known as Hannah. Please describe your character.
Okay, so she's older, a bit older, so she's in her 60s. Very severe bun, and very sort of put together, set in her ways, sort of very old-fashioned, which here means sort of she's stuck in like the 1890s. She's got, so as such, she's got full skirts, she's got, sort of like her old but well-maintained wardrobe full of 1890s clothes. And she wears a sort of a pair of wire rim glasses that she's never seen without. Presently, she is hunched over a tomato plant, looking around for a new stake because John Edward Sullivan pulled out the stake to use as a fake, a sword.
Mm-hmm.
She had words with him and with his mother when she saw her next.
Cindy agreed with you that maybe John Edward should stay behind and help with the cleanup. Currently, the small child is inside the schoolhouse,
Scrubbing desks, presumably.
wiping down the desks, You sent him out many times to clap out erasers as part of the new slate that your school was given by the Grayson family. Again, to your chagrin.
A bit annoyed that he seems to really enjoy that task also, because he's supposed to be thinking about what he did, and instead he's having fun clapping erasers. So back inside, John. Scrub those desks.
As you are tending to the garden, you look out, and again, class sizes are smaller at this time of year. Now only about 15 children from families that either have too many or not quite enough children to go around. Most of them come from across the river in Eastbridge proper, also known as Graysonville. But a couple of the old Eastbridge families still send children to school. As you head back inside, you see the recalcitrant young John Edward kind of slowly, as kids do, moving the cloth across the desk. He's not really doing anything. The desks, it's your schoolhouse. They're in fine order. And granted, John Edward's desk has seen a little bit of extra ink and pencil on there. And he's not really cleaning it so much as just making the desk a darker shade of gray.
Well, I suppose you better run home then, John.
Yes, miss. Thank you, miss.
We'll stay out of the garden next time, yes?
Okay.
And go ahead and make a... what is this?
A might roll.
Go ahead and make a speed check. This is a difficulty of 3. Actually, not a difficulty of 3. It's a target number of 3. But are you trained in perception-based tasks?
I am.
Well, never mind. You don't have to roll. As he's walking away, again, you know your children. You see John Edwards pulls out a little cherry tomato from his pocket and pops it in his mouth. And he has a little bit of a skip in his step as he heads out the door.
I'm leaving this one alone because I don't want any more children around me right now.
Matilda Stone, you are an offish woman. It's been some years. You're in your 60s, and you live in your schoolhouse, a small apartment, and that suits you just fine. Yeah. People know that when things need taking care of, they come to you. You are familiar with the ways of growing things and the greenery and some of the older ways taught to you by your grandmother. And some of that older knowledge comes in the form of protections for your school children. Buried at each of the 4 corners of the stone wall, you have your wards. They are helpful. They alert you when people are where they shouldn't be, including children and visitors.
That's how teachers always know. Yeah.
And as you go about sweeping up what should have been the task John Edward was finishing up with, there's chalk all over the floor. The boy started clapping erasers inside.
Oh, buddy.
You feel a pulse, a thrum from your wards as someone has arrived in your schoolyard.
Does the pulse give any sort of indication as to type of person, like adult, child?
It's an adult.
Right. Well, she's gonna head outside.
Outside, you see coming down the stone walkway that you've so carefully tended around orderly and some disorderly growing plots. you see Dennis. A quiet man, and one that, while you didn't have as a student, you are familiar with.
Dennis?
Ma'am. Sorry to bother you, but there's something going on, and I know you know about this stuff, so I came by to talk to you about it. Do you mind if we head inside?
By all means.
Devin kind of nods. He has a shovel with him, which always is an off-putting thing, that how far he carries it away from the graveyard.
Dennis, perhaps you'd better leave the shovel outside. It's like really dirty and she just cleaned up. She's looking distastefully at the dirt that is.
Sorry, ma'am. I can put it against the door or something.
You brought it inside anyway?
But he brought his anyway. He'll go back to the entrance and kind of put it next to the door, and then come back.
And she kind of gestures to like a small child's desk, like, have a seat. And then she goes to sit at her desk, like in her regular size chair.
Dennis
What a
is
power
like
move.
6'3", right?
Yeah.
This is not a small man.
Oh,
he
man.
he looks at it and he does try, and it doesn't work. So he just instead opts just to kind of stand, but it's not a comfortable stand. It's
It's like trying to lean on the desk, but it's like way too low.
This is such a power move.
yeah.
Dennis, how can I help you?
So you know about like the things, right? The weird stuff.
Why don't you tell me what's going
okay,
on?
so I was doing rounds in the graveyard, you know, and someone left some dolls, like little dolls, on graves, and they had like a string tied around them, like a, you know, almost like a red, or like a red, like a. It looked wrong. It was wrong. You know, I don't know how else to say it. Like, I don't know about anything about this stuff. But it was wrong. Nothing got out.
Of the graves?
True. Yes. But, if they're there, I don't like them. I figured you might know what they are.
Do I know what they are?
From just the description that Dennis has given, I will say, go ahead and give me an intellect roll around the crafting of and using of magic. So let's go with the using of magic.
Oh, thank you very much. I have a...
But this will be a difficulty. This will
Like
be a
that sound.
difficulty of 6. So that's 18.
22. I'm more beanie babies.
So I have to hit 18 or higher.
You
right?
have to hit 18 or higher.
And I'm trained in this, so does that...
So that brings it down. So that's 15 or higher.
3!
I'm a good communicator, guys.
Absolutely no clue. It's just some dolls.
Dennis, would you like me to come take a look?
Please.
So it's like, do you think it's like 4 p.m. and she's finally off the clock?
Yep.
So she goes to get her cloak, puts it on, adjusts her glasses, grabs her umbrella, closed, but you never know, and swoops out, probably locks the door behind her of the schoolhouse. Yes, you'd better take that with you.
All right. So we move away from these two, and we instead move to a little bit more of a lively setting, as it is prime business time at the Eastbridge drugstore, where we also have a newly installed soda fountain, tended to by our good friend Tim McKean. A young lad, gangly and awkward. This is his first true counter job. He normally tends the orchards, both the ones that Grayson family knows about, and the ones that don't. We go to the proprietor of said establishment, a Mr. Thomas Rose, the local chemist and pharmacist du jour, well-trained and highly educated. Thomas, or Tommy in this case, Timmy's been trying real hard, man. He's just doesn't know how to talk to people, specifically those those ladies. He tries real hard, bless his soul, but he's just not quite there yet. And as he serves one of the last egg creams on order, maybe it's time for Tim to head on home. You come out from behind the back where you've been making different distillates of different natures to go dismiss the boy. And as you do, there is a rush through the front door as a local fishing enthusiast bursts through and...
Where's your head?
Am I fishing right now?
No, you are not fishing right now. Granted, the only thing so far you have caught...
Did I just come from fishing?
You did come from fishing, because Bobby, you come rushing through the door, and you've got a little fishing hook in your hand. This one, you normally are able to get it out yourself, Bobby, but this time it's in there quite deep, and figured you best go to the experts. If Bobby and Tommy, you could describe your characters for me. Bobby first, as you come rushing through the door.
So Bobby Rivers, his friend called him Shivers, due to a tremor he has in his hands when he is relaxed, is a 22-year-old rebellious explorer who moves like a bobcat. He dresses in Grace & Company provisioned button-ups and suspenders and sometimes overalls, and he lives in Grace & Company provisioned housing. On Sundays, on his day off, he liked to go fishing in his oil slicker down at his favorite spot at down Miller's River. Outside of that, he's mostly seen with his two friends, Jimmy and Jimmy.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he also loves, what he really loves doing is telling stories. He hears a lot of stories from his cousin Ziggy from the next town over, and he just loves telling stories to the other guys at the factory. And currently, he has a fish hook in his hand.
Okay. So kind of flashing over to the other side of the counter, I'm about to tell Tim to finally go on home because this is hard to watch, but this is even harder. So,
Dr. Rose, I think you gotta come here.
So Tommy's going to come out from behind. He's popping in a peppermint just to cover up any potential other smells that might be clinging from the previous work that he had been doing. He has slick back brown hair. He's probably also in his, I can't remember if I said 30s or 40s, but about 40s, I would say. And this guy wearing just a pretty typical white pharmacist coat. But I'm going to come around and just say, oh, Bobby, this is the third time this June. Where's Jimmy? Or where's Jimmy? They're supposed to be watching you.
I don't know where they are.
You gotta slow down.
It was definitely their fault. They should have been watching me.
All right, Tim, just watch for a second longer, all right? And then you can go home. Let me just come back here.
All
I'm
right.
gonna bring Bobby around back. So how are you gonna stop this from happening again? I'm gonna yank it out.
Thanks, Doc.
Oh, no roll required?
No roll required. You're a pharmacist. That's an easy task.
It's a barb, and so it's not really the right way to do it.
No.
I know that Bobby isn't going to stop fidgeting around, and because of the tremor, it's not going to be a much cleaner job than this. So I'm just going to yank it out. And, all right, Bobby, you really got to slow down, though.
Okay, thanks, Doc. Bye.
Oh no. I'm gonna try to like rush to the door and just be like, Bobby, you need like a bandage on that. Come back.
Oh,
We're
okay.
not done.
All right, yeah. Thanks, Doc.
I'm gonna break
I know I
that
owe
big
you a lot of
bandage.
clams, but can we just add this to my tab?
No, yeah, I wasn't planning on actually getting paid today. Come on, bring it back in. I'm gonna bandage up the hand so that it's not going to get infected, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Awesome. Again, these are things you can just do
Yeah.
because you are well versed in pharmacology. Bobby, as Doc bandages up your hand, you have a moment, normally something you'd fill with words, to start thinking about the occasion at which this particular incident happened. Bobby, you had been fishing earlier today. A kind of nice change of pace. Normally you work in the mills, but you got orchard duty today, and that means early mornings, but free afternoons. So you had chance to go to your favorite fishing spot, a certain lake north of town. And, you know, it's the kind of thing where sometimes you like to go out into the center of the lake and just drop a line and hang. But this day you decided to try handed fly fishing, something that isn't normally your specialty, but you've heard good things about it. And, yeah, apparently, you know, being that this is the third time this June, maybe you should stop. Your cousin has been filling your head with all manner of tales of solidarity and heroes working together. And you've been attempting to spread these tales, and I'm sure you are regaling Dr. Thomas Rose with one at this moment. And whilst babbling on about the tale to the doc, you also have the second plot going on in your head. You've been trying to share this tale, hoping for some such heroic endeavor yourself. Stories of heroes standing up to the oppressors. In this case, maybe or maybe not your boss, Ed Van Hoek. But, you know, it's fighting for the good of all, and that's honorable and right. And people aren't really listening. You're normally a quite persuasive guy. And in this case, you've been getting a lot of doors. You know that the doc is known as a neighborly sort, and has some good connections and inns, and has frequent dinners with people in town, families. And maybe he can provide some assistance in opening the hearts and ears of people around town.
Hey, Doc. Yeah, you know that story I like to tell about, you know, that I hear from my cousin Ziggy, who, you know, heard from his friend, and from his coworker, from his cousin.
Yeah, Bobby, just lower your voice a little bit. It's a great story. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But it's something that you gotta be really careful about around here. I'm gonna finish this
Why?
bandage and kind of cut it off. The good of all is a great thing, right?
Yeah,
It's great
yeah.
in stories, it's great in all that kind of stuff, but people get hurt around that kind of talk. You gotta do things a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit
why I'm
quieter.
trying to tell the story, so we can stop getting hurt.
Slow down, Bobby. You gotta do things a little bit slower. That's all. Just
But then
if
they get
people
done
aren't-
slower. I don't understand.
If people aren't listening, they're not ready.
Okay. Yeah, that's the problem I'm having. People aren't listening. How do I get them to listen, Doc?
You gotta show them that what you're doing is right. How are you doing that? What are you actually physically doing to give them a tangible difference? Sorry,
Doc,
Let me
I
think of a
understand all the
different-
words you're saying by themselves. But together, I'm drawing a blank.
This is really the hardest part of my job. Things are hard to believe if people can't see them. And what you're talking about is impossible to a lot of people. So you gotta show them it's not. How? But first steps first, slow down. Because you're gonna lose your own. One second. I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna be like, oh, Tim, just don't worry about it, all right? I'll clean it up.
Sorry.
It's fine. Just
I just thought I'd make one. Mr. Rivers just seemed like he could use something to calm down a bit, so I thought I'd make him a soda.
I appreciate that, Tim, but the whole idea behind getting this machine is that we don't need to do things by hand, and things aren't supposed to break anymore. So just go home. You did a great job. It was really busy.
Okay.
And just maybe also just lose the chin thing, because that's not impressing anybody. You gotta wait just a little bit longer, I think.
Oh, I thought if I just let it come in and just keep going.
That's not really how that works.
Oh.
But
I
just,
got a patch right here, though.
that's really nice. Maybe just get rid of that, too. Just go home, and I'll see you later.
Okay. Thanks, Doc.
Just kind of nod and, like, shoo him out the door.
Alright.
And I'll get to cleaning up this broken glass.
Let me help, Doc. It's the least I
No,
can do.
Bobby, please. All right, Bobby, come on back.
Oh my god. Beautiful.
As we move away from this lovely scene of patching up and destruction.
Took more damage during that encounter.
So much more damage
Yeah.
during that encounter. We move back to Poplar and Stone. The cemetery isn't very far from your schoolhouse. It's just across the square. Down a short winding path through a grove of some trees, quiet and serene, we arrive at the Eastbridge Cemetery. Dennis, you take Ms. Matilda along the path towards some of the older graves, and sure enough, 3 dolls sitting against some of the older gravestones.
That's better than 2, I guess.
Yeah, I was waiting for them to be gone.
right,
I swear to God.
I'm gonna raise an eyebrow at Dennis and walk over, and first I'm gonna look at the gravestones themselves. Do I recognize the names?
Oh, certainly. You'd had one of the Sullivans get in your classroom just earlier this morning. Another one, O'Keefe, you know, is a little bit older. The family itself kind of moved away some decades ago, but one of your schoolmates for sure. Another one, it's difficult to make out. Perhaps a little bit of, like, elbow grease might get that readable again, but at the moment, difficult to say.
Just trying to take the edge of her cloak and just. Elbow grease.
Maybe not in that way. It's less dirt and more just time-worn stone.
Yeah, it's you kind of gotta like. He just does like hand motions and doesn't elaborate further on how to help.
Just kind of.
Does that help? All right.
I mean, you could make an intellect roll if you'd like, but
Why bother? All right, so she's gonna turn her attention to the dolls, and in particular, you know, she understands magic. So first thing she's gonna try to figure out is are there magic shenanigans happening here?
Certainly. This is a level 5 difficulty task. When something is a level of difficulty, you can use your trained abilities, or you can use your edges to decrease the difficulty. This is an intellect task based around the understanding of magic. So for a level 5, your target number would be 15, but you are trained.
Mhm.
So that decreases the difficulty by 1 level, which means your target would be 12.
Very good.
Nice. Not nice.
4. Oh, we rolling good.
We rolling good. I love this for me.
Oh no.
These are Cara style rolls, honestly.
They are. Everyone over on this side of the table, except for that first natural 20, been a Cara style roll. For which Alanna, or in this case Dennis, got 1 XP token. I forgot the token, so we are using rocks.
Listen, this rock's gonna sit here.
Oh, you can use that rock for things.
So,
So you look at these dolls' strange construction. You do know, based on the fact that you are trained in the ways of magic, there's something weird about them. Because these don't look like dolls that you've seen children playing with as recently. In fact, these look like the type of dolls that you might have played with in your childhood. They are older, and yet seemingly of newer construction. So nothing about the magical nature itself, but you can clearly see that these dolls are new.
with her umbrella, poke.
You're touching it?
With the umbrella, the end of the umbrella.
Okay. Go ahead. Let's see.
Not this die, this one.
This is going to be a level 7 intellect check.
Okay.
I want to use some of those points. Seems
Yeah,
important.
can I use my edge?
You can. Using your edge will decrease it by 1, which means you...
Why?
1 level, so it's a level 6 now instead, which is an 18.
Oh, I see.
But it takes from your pool.
Now I don't.
Is that
now I have
applying
0.
on a level of effort? Is that what's...
So the edge is something that you have a way... Oh, what'd you get there?
9.
Okay, hey, it's better than a level... it's better than a 1.
We're still rolling single digits here.
We'll escape eventually. I couldn't I couldn't tell if we were rolling d20s or d6s because I wasn't watching the dice roll at first, and I was too afraid to ask. But they were so low I couldn't tell.
We're going up though,
no.
like
Slowly.
3, 4, and then 9. Yeah.
Which doll are you touching?
The Sullivan grave.
Right. You poke at this doll with your umbrella. And this isn't a natural 1. But this is going to be a GM intrusion. I can't roll, but I do have these fun little things called intrusions where I can give you 2 XP points. 1 for you and 1 to give to somebody else.
Do you want a cool little like blue token that's like a mosaic little stone piece for tokens?
That works. These are also
Okay, no worries.
fine.
Yeah,
They
these
just don't
rock.
show up on screen.
Yeah.
When you have XP tokens yourself, you can refuse a GM intrusion. But as you do not have any, you must take this.
Damn, that's crazy.
Matilda, you poke at this doll. A doll associated with a Sullivan grave. And it falls over.
Thank you.
One of those goes to somebody else.
Oh, right.
You can choose.
I feel like I know more about the world now.
I feel safe.
XP tokens. Okay. Does anything else happen other than the doll falling over?
The doll fell over.
Oh no.
Which doll was it?
It's the Sullivan doll.
Can I?
He's so mean.
Do I have any new understanding that would allow for like another check, another roll?
No,
Okay.
it just fell over.
Hannah's
But
worried that she has to go check on the Sullivans now, but
is Matilda worried?
well, I don't know because I rolled so low.
Matilda, you nervously go up and you touch your glasses. A thing that you've done from time to time. And Dennis, being the quiet man that you are, you take note of body language. You see this. You know there's something wrong with these dolls. And Matilda touched one, and it fell over. and nothing seems to have happened to two of you. So that's good, but that wrongness is still there. And both of you, go ahead and give me a perception check, which is an intellect-based task. But because you are trained in perception, you can lower the difficulty by 1 level. This is going to be a difficulty of 4.
See, the trick is just don't have to roll.
Another 9.
19.
All right. Matilda, as you rub your glasses, you were just kind of taken aback at this lack of anything.
Perception. I can see invisible things. Does that change anything?
It does. Dennis, you sense this wrongness, and it's a growing presence. And you feel something rise.
Can I ring the bell?
You can go ahead and ring that bell.
I ring my little. So, Dennis in his pocket takes out from his outer coat a little silver bell, and he just gives it a gentle ding.
And Matilda, you feel the thrum of something powerful.
Oh dear.
Not from ahead of you, but from the bell. A release of energy that has helped improve your sight as well as Dennis's. And a billowing black cloud has appeared from behind the Sullivan Stone. You see 2 white shining orbs placed in this black cloud as the manifestation of fingers grasps across it. And it stares at both of you.
That's not good. So, stop
And
that.
blinks.
What are you doing?
I'm going to pull out my sachet that has the bloodroot, the dried bloodroot, and use it so that spirits and haunts flee from me for 1 hour.
You present the bloodroot sachet. You slap your hands into it, rubbing them together, crushing the bloodroot inside. And you see... What is the level of that one? Did I tell you?
Probably. Bear with me. That is level 4.
Give me 1 moment. This might work.
It's a Hail Mary, I think, but...
No, but that's smart. That was quick thinking. Dennis just said, "Stop it."
Listen, the next option was a shovel to the face.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's the
Typically, I
escalation.
would trust Dennis, but a little extra
2-step
never.
process.
Extra juice never hurts.
Extra juice, yeah.
Smart.
I didn't think to have this one ready. Beautiful. A level 4. You watch as the cloud shifts and dissipates, and you see little particles float off and towards the river.
This isn't good. Dennis, did I sense any intent from the spirit, any sort of malice or sadness or confusion, anything like that?
Go ahead. This will be a fairly easy roll. Go ahead and give me a level 2. Going to go with intellect again. This is a lot of intellect rolls, guys. That's what happens when you investigate.
Finally, 15.
Beautiful. Of course, malice. Again, you feel that same sensation that Dennis felt, a wrongness.
Do I see anything else invisible? Or that, like, invisible? Because I can see the unseen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Matilda, you again polish your glasses. And go ahead and give me. This is not for seeing the unseen. This is a level 3 intellect check.
16.
Beautiful.
Yes, it is.
You put a hand over top of your forehead and kind of massage your temples, moving down towards the glasses before covering them.
I'll just listen.
And then, as you pull your hands away, the patina of the frame crawls across the lenses, not visible to you, Dennis. But you get a hazy vision. And you see a trembling hand tie a red thread around the doll and place it down.
The one that fell over? So it's sitting up now?
No, this is... You get this
I
something that happened
a vision.
in the past.
Okay.
And as that hazy vision clears, you look and you see the doll still leaning over.
Should we go get the thing? It's one of them. Should we go grab it?
Matilda, you know of such a person who has shaky, shivery, trembly hands.
Listen. I can't fight a spirit. I don't know how. Do you?
I mean, yeah.
I have an idea of how
Holds the
this might have
shovel
happened.
He's like currently real holding the shovel like this.
Skeptical. I have an idea for who we should talk to. Is that what's like down by the river where the spirit went?
It seemed to be headed towards Graysonville.
Okay, so if we go the direction it went, we'll be in town. Well, come on, Dennis. We better go to town. I'd like to find Bobby. I have a feeling he might know something here, but we'd also better warn some folks that there's a spirit about. Come on. And she sort of ushers him away. Do you seem like reluctant?
No, he just once again looks at the graves, crosses himself. He has an iron grip on his shovel, though.
Good. Hold on to that. Come along.
The two of you rush off towards Graysonville proper. About this time of day, from what you know of Bobby, he's working in the mill. He might be getting out around now. Maybe a couple hours yet. It's like 5:30 by now. But hey, the mill's bell's about to go off soon, so maybe. So you head towards town, and as you do, Matilda, you can see little wisps of that black smoke kind of separating off into town, going down lanes and up pathways, very distinctly not into your schoolyard, as it should not.
Glad to see those are working, the wards.
And one other thing of note. As you get to the bridge, you don't see it past the river. The two of you rush into town, and just in time, as finishing up a very wonderful job cleaning up the bandage and the blood and the glass from his storefront, and drinking the last dregs of his ginger ale, we have Bobby Rivers and Doc Thomas Rose. The two of you are kind of just, well, Doc, you're more nodding along as Bobby is giving you a flood of information, some of it relevant, some of it not. But I'm going to say, Doc, go ahead and give me an intellect check. This is going to be a level 5.
Level 5 intellect check, and
It would be the understanding of magic.
okay. What is it? Crafted magic, or is it like regular regular old magic.
It's the understanding of magic. So if you are trained in the understanding of magic, you
I'm
can.
not.
Ooh.
I know how to use it. I know how to craft it. The whole understanding, it's have a book
going to
about it.
increase the difficulty
Yeah.
to level 6.
cool. I'm gonna use Can I use more than one intellect?
No,
Okay.
you spend 1 point, so you have 1 edge, so you can decrease it by 1.
Gotcha.
It's not the pool. The pool is something different.
Right.
Gotcha.
The edge tells you how much you can spend per roll.
Gotcha.
So
Okay,
that
so
edge
yeah.
that
one
was-
means you can spend 1 at a time.
Yes. So
And
like
from
if
your
you,
pool.
you could potentially have like an edge of 3, and that means that when you use from your pool,
You can use up
that's
to-
representative of you being like super trained or like, whatever
Right.
the case may be.
Yeah.
Sorry, I misunderstood. So when I used my edge, that meant my pool of intellect went down to from 23 to 22.
Yeah,
right?
so I'm gonna-
okay.
I'm gonna use one of my intellect, drop my pool down to 13. And what is the target for that?
So that'll be 15.
13.
Not quite so close. I will say that while you don't see anything that might tinge your senses, after all, understanding, not really your thing. You do notice from across the Main Street Bridge, coming past the town square, the new town square, the main drag where all the shops are, rushing something you don't normally see either of them do, Dennis Poplar and Headmistress Matilda Stone. And they seem to be headed in the direction of the mill.
Okay.
The pace at which the two of them are going is concerning.
Huh. Bobby, does that look weird to you?
Moving like normal.
No.
Well, sorry, normal for me, I guess. So,
Yeah.
but I guess it would be weird for them. Something's fluky.
Does Headmistress Stone look funny? Hurrying, because that's probably pretty atypical for them.
Funny as in haha, or
Like, so,
I guess that's a question for
Yeah,
Headmistress
yeah.
Stone.
She's doesn't normally hold her skirts above the ground because she moves with purpose and doesn't need to, and so she's holding her. I mean, not like super high, but she's holding her skirts a little higher than. That's a weird thing for her to do because
Okay.
you've never seen her do that before. And therefore, you can see her feet moving, which you've never seen before. And they're scampering,
okay.
and she doesn't scamper.
Okay. All right, we should probably check this out because one of the kids might be hurt and she doesn't really know what she's doing. Come on.
Oh yeah, and that's that Dennis.
I'm going to run behind the counter. I'm going to grab my camera. I'm going to think about it for a second. I'm going to grab something a little bit smaller that is rotund, that has a pin in it, just in case. I'm going to stick it in my pocket. And I am going to take off. And I'll lock up the store behind me.
All right, you have your bag with you too?
Yeah.
And Bobby, you going with?
Yeah.
So the
I'm
two of you
walking over the
I'm
store.
Stay.
This is for your own good, Bobby, all right?
Hey,
We don't have
you
insurance
never
yet.
know.
Contained.
Right, are you just following quietly, or are you?
I'm going to follow at a little bit of a distance. I don't know what's going on.
All right.
I run and catch up.
Okay.
Unless you stop me.
No, I'm not going to stop you, but
Are you looking to be like, kind of
No, no,
standoffish,
no,
or
just-
once Bobby goes, you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm walking. I'm not going to run, though.
All right. The two of you, as you're headed towards the mill, you hear footsteps coming up from behind you, and I think that's it. Just footsteps, or do you call out?
I'm not gonna call out. I'm just gonna run up.
Do I recognize the
and keep
speed
post.
of those footsteps?
Oh, 100%.
Tap, 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 tap.
You couldn't keep him contained in the classroom, constantly getting up and walking around. It's a wonder he gets work done at the mill.
So she turns around and she's like, just the person I was looking for. Bobby, I need to speak with
Mr.
you.
Stone.
I need to speak with you. It's very important.
Mm.
So, stop moving. Just stop. Feet still.
All right.
We're gonna put
he
on our
stops
walking
moving.
feet now.
His hand shakes.
Bobby, have you been to the graveyard recently?
Have I been to the graveyard recently?
No.
No.
Have you?
I mean, you can ask Father Time over there.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I looked up a bunch of 1920s slang, and apparently Father Time is any man over 30 years of age.
It's still so. This doesn't give any of the connotation to it. It's still not like in the 1920s. There wasn't somebody's like, "Oh yes, I am Father Time."
That's
He
seems
has
like
like
a bad
Yeah.
push out.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
It's in the font Courier.
No, trust
so
me.
it's
I'm
very
I'm
tiny.
referencing it
Sorry,
as well. For sure.
And there's arrows on there.
Yeah, I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
This is
May I have
wonderful.
a
Sorry,
So-
I meant you can ask Dennis over there. Yeah, he'd know.
Dennis, you seen Bobby lately around your grounds?
I'm guessing no, but have I seen Bobby recently? No.
Why?
listen,
Why do you
well-
think I was there?
Well, Bobby, have you made any dolls lately?
At that, Dennis
Am I
just
walking
like
up and about
looks
Have
very
I made any dolls
intensely.
recently?
Bobby, to your knowledge, have you made any dolls?
No,
recently?
I'm just.
Okay.
I mean, I whittle some stuff sometimes, but nothing that could be classified as a doll. Here, let me show you. Bring out some of the stuff I whittle. I show you my lure. Yeah, that's not a doll,
What
right?
happened to your hand?
He cut it on some kind of fishing hook, and then some glass, and then some more glass, and then after that a little bit more glass.
Oh, good, you're here, Thomas.
Mr. Poplar, Miss Stone,
It's Headmistress, and you know that very well.
you're talking about a doll.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
Well, I have some concerns. Strange goings on in the graveyard. Nothing you would understand anything about, of course, but you know a lot of people. Has anybody been making dolls?
Well, I wouldn't understand. So you're going to ask Bobby? No offense, Bobby.
Yeah, I don't make dolls.
Listen. And then she just like
I'll turn to Dennis. What do these look like?
And the little dolls.
Yeah.
They got a little red string that ties them, and are like old looking.
Were they all over?
Three of the stones, you know, just like sitting there, and then one got knocked over.
At the graveyard?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Sounds fluky.
listen, I best
It's not
warn you.
good.
Yeah, there is a spirit about, and I don't think it's here in town, but it may be malevolent. So, Bobby, stay in town for now until it's safe. All right?
I mean, I can't go fishing?
I'd prefer you didn't go to the river. Yes.
Oh,
For how long?
sorry. This is on a certain gravestone. Whose?
The Sullivans, or the Sullivan
Oh.
boy person.
Should we go check on them?
I mean,
But yes, I suppose we'd best.
nothing happened at the graveyard, so unless he's not counting spirits, but like
What about the other two ones?
they're still sitting.
Yeah, I mean, but what graves?
Oh, Keith, and then the other one is two one.
Well, yeah, but you're the gravekeeper. Whose is it?
Dennis gonna think about it. Does he actually know?
There are a couple there that seem to be unaccounted for.
Yeah.
Ones that are just far too old. Dennis, go ahead and actually give me an intellect check. This is knowledge of history and lore of the town. I'm gonna say it's gonna be probably a level 5.
Another 20.
Oh!
The Savant.
Amazing.
A sudden
gameplay.
flashback. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
No,
okay,
this
Dennis,
is
Dennis
so
got the
good.
I have a,
Now
I have a theory that
apologize.
I'm.
Here's your XP token.
I also have little potion bottles that would be probably good for that. But sorry.
Forever, DM.
You have records, but the records don't cover this section of the graveyard because it's just far too old. The cemetery itself was built on another plot of land donated by a family a long time ago that used to have a farm in that region that failed. It just didn't go well. And they moved a little bit further towards town to try their hand at a different type of farming. And their descendants have been in this town since its inception. Dennis, you don't like to share this section of the graveyard because this is where your ancestors are. They know the value of staying safe and warm underground. They've never come up. None of them. The family plot was on the family land. And being the last poplar, it's a lonely job. And some value that has always been instilled from your family is the value of knowing where you belong. It's a comforting feeling, knowing where home is. But for you, it's lonely. Because all of your family is at home, at rest. Which is a comforting thought, but that also means they're not here. But something is at your great-grandfather's stone. Doc, you know, in the general vicinity of where the O'Keefes used to be, not in town anymore. They were kind of friends of your father's, but they've long since moved, as has your father.
Yeah.
But if they're buried here, that means that grave is old. So you know that the Sullivan grave is not one of the more recent Sullivans, but you do have a good relationship with Cindy, John Edward, Mary Lou, and particularly Floyd. Floyd being a regular patient of yours.
Very regular.
And in fact, for dinner tonight, you are expecting a lovely asterisk Jell-O salad from Cindy. A new invention.
I was about to say, that's like real fancy cooking.
Sorry, it'd be some aspic, but, you know, Jell-O hasn't, run a thing yet. But, just trying out a new thing with some ham. She's heard that you can slice it and make a nice little loaf out of it with some green beans and carrots. But it's in there. It's coming. And you better eat it. Knowing that you have to see the Sullivans later today, you figure maybe she can do
We could check on the Sullivans. We'd know if anything happened to the other ones.
Perhaps we better go immediately.
Yeah, I think that might be a good idea.
Where would they be at this time of day? Would they be at home? Where's their home? Is that way?
We would know where the Sullivan home is, right?
Oh, you for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Should I
Thomas,
wait
I
somewhere
don't
else?
think we'll need your expertise here, such as it is.
You have a good relationship with the Sullivans?
Not really.
I was just supposed to go.
I teach the boys.
I was just supposed to go there to pick up dinner anyways, so I figured maybe it made sense if I went over. But Miss Stone, if you would like to lead, I'm absolutely happy to follow.
I can wait
Fine.
somewhere else. People don't.
No, Dennis, you should come. This is important. It has to do with your work.
I'll stand back.
Well, come on then.
As you start to walk away, Dennis kind of sweeps one long arm out and puts it around Tommy's shoulder and kind of pulls him forward with him. So.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna sat up next to Dennis and be like, Dennis, I'm sorry I called you Father Time. That's what the other guys at the factory call you. I forgot that it was a derogatory term.
Tommy. I'm a gravekeeper. I've heard worse. Also, you gotta be more careful with your hands. important to, you gotta take care of yourself. And then from this point on, it's just gonna be the most awkward, like, Dennis is, like, trying to be, like, a reassuring person. Like, you got your whole life ahead of you, and, like, you gotta take care of yourself. But it's coming out more as, like, a weird, like, is this, like, a threatening thing?
Corpses come in all the time, and they have cuts on their hands, too.
Yeah, and it's not as comforting as he wants it to be, but he's trying. And he does go off on a little bit of a side tangent about the most recent person who came in from the mill and how mangled they were. So
I can, like, take that, and it becomes another story I tell.
Matilda is visibly upset by this story.
And one that, Doc, you know all too well. Being the local pharmacist, you're also the local doctor. You treat any number of injuries, which, with the recent increase in pace, has been many. They've added new looms, they've added new rooms, they've started mass producing a roofing material thanks to an acquiring of an asphalt factory a few towns over, and the schoolhouse itself has benefited from such tiles. They're very handy fabric and very cheap to make, but also very toxic. And where once the river near your chemist's was more colorful, it's now a little bit more noxious. You've seen burns, and you've seen manglings.
A lot of scalpings.
A lot of that too. Lots of hair. You've been telling the girls to kind of keep their hair pulled up, and thankfully, short haircuts are coming into style. Not, to the preference of a certain headmistress, but well, they look mighty nice.
No, they don't.
You lead the way, Dr. Rose.
Oh, no, I'm going to let Headmistress Stone lead the way.
Oh.
Which she does confidently.
Of course,
Very
yeah.
confidently.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm going to have you give me an intellect check. It's going to be a level 2. You don't often come to this side of town.
8.
Beautiful. You pause a little bit as you kind of like look at the roads, and you give a little nod over to the doctor as you turn down the correct road of Fletcher Street. And you head down towards the Sullivan house. While the doctor might not think you know your way about, you've had to escort John Edward home quite a few times. Thankfully, not Floyd. Floyd is a good boy, although a little bit weak of constitution. You've tried to encourage his mother that maybe a bit more of this or that tea might help with him, but she seems to prefer the advice of Dr. Rose.
Have we arrived at the door?
You have. But on your way there, we go back to Doc.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor, Tommy Rose.
Yeah.
You think about your interactions with the Sullivans. Cindy has been in a little bit more often for poor Floyd. Floyd had a fairly impressive sickness about 2 years ago, one that you helped ease and manage, but has since required constant doses of medication to keep it contained. It affects his breathing. He's very tired. Unlike his brother, never into trouble, but you know that's not necessarily because he doesn't want to be. Floyd is a bright boy. He knows how to get things done in a different way. He knows how to get his brother to do things for him, and frequently gets his sister Mary Lou into trouble. You have a special relationship with Floyd. He's got a little spark to him. And the thought that something might be happening to him and his family is disturbing. You think back to the dolls that Dennis mentioned. Specifically, the fact that one fell over at the Sullivan grave, and that seems to have disturbed the two of them. You know, Matilda's a superstitious one, the talk of spirits in the town. Yeah, not a thing. The dolls seem weird. Go ahead and give me an intellect check. It's going to be a level 5 around the crafting of magic.
And I have as a special ability crafting magic.
Yes,
and I'm
you are
trained in that. Yeah.
which means you can decrease the difficulty by 1 level,
Okay.
meaning your target number is 12.
Okay. 20. Natural 20.
Nice. Someone knows something.
Someone knows something! An XP token for you. As we walk up the steps to the Sullivan house, one of many company houses, this one a little bit nicer, a nice single family home as opposed to one of the styles that Bobby lives in, a multifamily, and shares with many others. The Jimmys. Something about the dolls comes to your mind. Old style, but newly made. Red threads and straw. You know about some superstitious tales about creating dolls as hopeful conduits for workings. Something that comes from the tales of Salem that you used to read as a boy. Ones that your father did not necessarily encourage. But the thought of witches at work creating things that would do their bidding with dolls. And the fact that they're at graves and they saw spirits, well, maybe a little bit too superstitious for your liking. Pings something in you. Something has happened. Something has been created with these dolls. And as Matilda raises her hand to knock at the door, this is where we're going to take our break.
Oh,
And we will be
fantastic.
back. Stay tuned. You got a counter coming somewhere on the screen. I think it's over there. And we will be back in about 10 minutes. Bye.
I don't know how to point.
Hello and welcome back. I definitely didn't hit a bunch of buttons and make mistakes as to which screen was the correct screen.
Flawless.
Flawless. Everything is wonderful. And welcome back to this episode of Iron and Thorns. We left off with our characters headed up the road towards the Sullivan house to check in on the Sullivan family, who may or may not be victim of some nefarious business. Most concerned, of course, is Dr. Thomas Rose, who has a very good relationship with the family, particularly Cindy Sullivan, Mrs. Sullivan, of course, and her youngest son, Floyd. Less of a good relationship. We have Headmistress Matilda Stone, who mostly comes into conflict with John Edward, as he's a bit of a rambunctious child. Which then leads to further conflict with Cindy, as John Edward is frequently kept after hours. Along in tow are Dennis Poplar, a concerned citizen of the local graveyard, making sure everything is tidy and neat and things are wrong. And Bobby Rivers is here too.
So we're at the door.
We are at the door.
Is here because shaky hands.
Matilda raps at the door in this just by habit. This is the way she raps at the door when she's dragging John home. So rat-a-tat-tat, tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat.
You hear as a latch is thrown and the door opens, and inside you see John Sullivan, of course, the father of John Edward, and a most strained expression on his face as he's come to recognize that knock. Headmistress.
John Senior, may we come in?
And then at the sound of we, he looks past you to see the rest of your fine group, all assembled on his doorstep.
We need to discuss a matter with you. Best discussed seated inside rather than here at the doorstep.
What is this about?
It's about your family's graves in the graveyard. Please, may we come in? And she's gonna roll her eyes and step back and allow Tommy to step forward.
Hey, John.
Hey, Doc.
I was just here to pick up dinner. I don't really know what all this is about, but I can wait if you want.
Yeah, no, come on in.
Walk in. Is this a shoes-off household?
This is for sure a
Taking
shoes-off
my
household.
shoes, taking off my shoes.
Matilda does not take off her shoes.
John-
She sweeps in behind him.
Sydney!
How are the boys?
Oh, they're good. They're good. Floyd's, he's doing all right. Thanks for the new dose, by the way.
Oh, of course, he's a good kid.
Yeah.
I keep telling you, bring him by sometime.
Thanks. We got some. Doc's been really good in keeping Floyd in medicine and helping out with his problems, and he always seems to bounce back.
Tea is good too, of course, but medicine. Is Cindy coming?
Cindy is, you hear, coming from the kitchen. She's got an apron on, very frilly, but also very greasy. She's got a couple hairs out of place as she comes around and says, "Oh, hi, Doc. It's having some trouble setting up, but I will have it shortly. You're a little bit early, and hi. John, why are there so many people in our entryway?"
Cynthia, not to worry. We just need to have a conversation with John Sr., and if you'd like to join, of course, you may.
Oh, we've already talked about John Edwards, and it's almost dinner time, and also there are others here, and what...
I'm very sorry for this, Mrs. Sullivan. Do you need any help?
Oh, Thank you so much for offering, but you just stay out here.
This is
it's
in
very
regards
fine.
to a malevolent spirit that may have been released from your family's grave. May we sit down?
Go ahead. And give me a persuasion roll. This isn't
Oh
an
no,
intellect-based
I'm not
test.
very good at persuasion.
And I will say that this is a level 3, which is made harder by your inability and persuasion and
Yes.
social niceties to a level 4, meaning you have to hit a 12
Okay. And is this
intellect.
16?
Okay. Seeing that she can't really get you off her doorstep very easily, and being a little bit intimidated by the presence of a too tall and kind of dirty and bloody visitors, Cindy just kind of like nods slowly, and John rolls his eyes and kind of lets you in. Doc, if you want to join us for dinner, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I'll be out of your hair soon enough. Also, I don't know why Bobby is here. I apologize.
You work with John Sullivan at the mill. John is unfortunately still working shifts at the mill rather than working in the orchards. He did not pull orchard duty. He got mill shift duty. He says, hey, Shivers.
Hey, John. Something seems fluky, and I'm just here to help.
Listen,
It's good. It's good.
listen. As I said, there's a malevolent spirit about. Dennis and I,
It might not be.
excuse me, I was speaking.
it could
Dennis and
also-
I witnessed it rise from the grave of a member of your family.
And it could be something more logical too. I mean, it could be an embalmer. It could be any number of things that are going on. And we just want to make sure that your family's remains are well respected.
You see, this kind of mollifies him a bit. And he kind of nods. And he looks over and says, Mr. Poplar, you know, Cindy really does prefer, like, shoes off. So if you wouldn't mind.
He really like looks down at his shoes and is just like looking around for like a bench or something to sit down on to
there's
like.
a,
take
there's
his
a little
shoes off.
stool by the door.
So he like gently
shoehorn.
puts the shovel down against the wall and then like goes up with a slightly laborious effort of someone who's worked for their body for many years to try to take off his boots. And it's just like,
Doc, would you mind sitting in on this one?
No, of course.
All right. I need some commentary, if you
Kind
don't
of why
mind.
I came. Yeah.
There are peculiar dolls sitting by the graves.
Let's go not in the dining room. The kids are gonna be back in anytime.
Fine, wherever you'd like to sit.
Where are the kids?
Well, they're just out back playing.
Okay.
So he kind of like pulls you aside to what seems to be like a small living room, the dining room, and the living room, same room. Different chairs, exactly.
Have I been here before, or do all these houses look the same?
I'd say
same
you might
structure?
have been over once or twice.
Okay. I'm just gonna, before sitting down, take a peek at the kids.
John's a little bit older than you, but you know, Cindy's a fantastic cook, and they frequently share dinners and whatnot. You are familiar with Cindy Sullivan's more eccentric cooking, and she is generous with her food, and maybe a little too experimental for your tastes. She has done some interesting things with some of the fish you're caught. You take a look, you peek outside, and you see Floyd Sullivan is kind of bundled up in an unseasonably warm scarf and blanket, and he's got a little book and is kind of directing John Edwards around the yard, climbing into various trees and whatnot. it seems to be kind of like play acting some scene with Mary Lou has climbed up high in the tree, and John seems to have some kind of stick that looks familiar to if someone were to look outside. Looks like a garden stake, but has seems to have painted it some kind of whitish color that it looks like silver in the night air. It seems to be play acting some kind of little rescue scene.
Smile at that and join the others.
Now, John, Cynthia, would like to know right now is whether you or anyone in your family may have made some sort of doll that could potentially summon a malevolent spirit. It's a very simple question.
Has anyone in your family recently visited the graves of your ancestors?
No, that's not really something we really have time for. Especially not the older ones. It's not really a place we like to go. You know,
Not for everyone.
it's... you see, they both get a little, like, solemn. John Edward might be the oldest one, and Mary Lou might be the second of the living children. And you know that there was a second girl, a little bit older than Mary Lou, who is no longer with us.
When Headmistress Stone mentions that the dolls, does Cindy react in a noticeable way?
Go ahead and give me an intellect-based check around perception of reading body language.
I've recently learned. Oh wait, I'm real bad at that. Dang! But I've also recently learned to have a large pool, so I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 point now because my edge is 2. Correct?
Correct. So it will be to ease it by 1. So it's a level 3.
So it would be
difficulty.
flat because I'm incapable of reading falsities, right? It's my what's it called
So
here?
if you have an inability, it
Yes.
makes it 1 harder, so
Yep.
level 4.
Yep.
But then you spend some from your pool to make it easier, which means a 9 is your target.
Oh, I love that. Except I'm gonna roll lower than that. I have yet to hit this.
It's a good thing that's for tokens, not for rolling.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew that.
5. Beautiful.
Yeah.
No.
Cool.
May I also make a check because I am very good at discerning truth and recognizing deception?
Certainly. It's also going to be a level 4.
I am trained
No, sorry,
in
a
this
level
one.
3. And if you're trained, it makes it easier, so that's a level 2, which means your target number is 6.
15.
Beautiful. Cindy doesn't seem to react in any particular way to the makings of dolls, and she does react to, like, summoning malevolent spirits, but that is a regular old facial expression that you are very familiar with when it comes to the summoning of spirits.
How about John Sr.? Anything from him?
John seems upset. It's like, we are, Headmistress, we're good Christian folk here. We don't have anything to do with any witchcraft or anything like that. That's not right and good. And we're good God-fearing citizens. We don't need any of that. And to be honest, it's kind of inappropriate for you to talk.
And similar to what you're alluding to with Miss Stone, we're just worried that somebody might be trying to drag your family's name through the mud, and we wouldn't want that at all. So, is anybody that might want to do this to your family?
He kind of looks over at Bobby. It will break me each and every time.
It's gonna be the death scene of Bobby.
You would have wanted this.
Yeah.
He says, there was a man here a while ago. Like, just a couple days. Bobby, and I know you mean well with all your stories about, coming together for the good of all and the summoning of courage to band together as a community. But the Graysons have done a lot of good stuff for this town. Like, we have this house, we've got, Doc Rose here, We've got jobs. It's, it's not an easy farm type place. Apples don't do anything. What are we gonna do with apples? And sure, there's been accidents, but it's
But it doesn't have to be accidents.
it's hard times, Bobby. Sometimes you need to take a pay cut and just help keep things afloat so that it's better down the line. And I would love.
Better for who, though?
I would love for everyone to give me an intellect-based check around the understanding of magic.
Natural one.
Abilities.
Science. Not magic.
Do I even get a check if I don't have to have
Yes.
an ability on magic?
It just makes it harder. So it's going to be
Ganning it up over here.
a level 4.
Ooh.
So if you have an inability, that means it's a level 5.
I'm trained, and I'd like to spend an intellect point.
All right, so that's going to be a level 2. So your target is 6.
I got a 9.
Beautiful. What'd you get?
An 18.
So wonderful.
I'm so ready to roll like shit for everything I'm supposed to be good at.
Dennis is just gonna just steamroll through.
Doc Rivers.
Somehow know everything. Oh,
Not
no.
Doc Rivers, Doc Rose. Goodness, the Rivers and the Rose being right next to each other is gonna fuck me up.
Doc
It's also
Rivers.
Tommy and Bobby.
All right, Celtics, let's get this.
You got a 15?
Is it meets it beats it?
It is Meet It Beats It.
Hell yeah.
I should have been Doc Rivers. That was a missed opportunity.
So we're gonna come back to you because I get a free
Yeah.
I get a free intrusion normally.
Why do
Actually,
I
I'm
get
gonna take
these?
that for
Yeah, I
one.
was gonna say.
Just one. I'll give you one. You can give that to whomever you like. That's not for you.
Oh,
We'll come back to you.
for the antagony.
It's good antagony.
We're gonna start with Matilda, and move on to the poplar rivers. Matilda, you can see this work, and there is a thread that binds its way around the heart and around the neck and the wrists of one John Sullivan. And you see the beginnings of a string being tied around Cindy. And that is what you see. The two of you, Dennis and Bobby. John doesn't talk like this. You've actually had pretty good discussions with John around the idea of coming together and unionizing for the greater good of all. And John had actually kind of been an ally in this discussion. For him to have such a turn, and one that seems to be built around some of the very things that he disagreed with, is strange to you. Dennis, you know that John Sullivan would never be in favor of harder working conditions for a cut of pay, considering his eldest daughter died because of such conditions. The reason John Edward doesn't work in the mill anymore and is back in the classroom with Matilda is that they decided to take a little bit of a pay cut. Because Sarah Sullivan, no longer with us, had a bit of an accident around the looms, and her lovely blonde hair got caught.
The ultimate pay cut.
Shit, man.
Oh my god.
Dr. Rose. Doc. Happy Rose. Bobby's been talking up a big game about unionizing the good of all, and you know where such talk leads. It leads to the shutting down of mills and potentially the shutting down of the unionizers. You like Bobby. You like John Sullivan. John's a good man, he's a good family. He's got young children who have sure been hurt by the mill.
And Bobby also, I mean, like, all respect to Bobby. but you know,
His heart's in the right place.
yeah.
Maybe that place is a little bit misplaced. And you watch this red thread as it begins to reach around Mr. Doc Thomas Rose.
So Matilda stands up abruptly, and she goes, John Sr., the man who came to visit you. Who was he? Where did he go?
Just, calm down, Miss Headmaster. Come, just sit down.
Answer the question, please.
Oh my God.
She's in like teacher mode now.
Yeah. Okay.
Was it a company man?
I guess he was wearing a nice suit. Maybe one of the managers. I didn't recognize him. He hasn't been in town before, but he did have a really nice car.
What kind?
Buick.
Have I seen a Buick outside of the store before?
Go ahead and give me an intellect check. That's going to be a level 2.
12.
You for sure have. You've seen it kind of idling around town for the past few days. Not been around very long. A nice, shiny, sleek Buick, very new. And you've also seen it driving up the road towards the Grayson Mansion. The Grayson Mansion, of course, being one of many homes owned by the Grayson family. What once used to be the family seat, but is now occupied on an irregular basis by one Richard Grayson III.
When Richard Grayson III last entered town, would that line up roughly around the time that we started seeing, or I started seeing that Buick?
No. Dick III hasn't been in town in a couple months. The mansion is currently occupied by Ed Van Hook, the current overseer of the Grayson Mill, one whom Bobby is unfortunately quite familiar with.
Buick. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Buick. Oh, gotta cost a lot of clams.
Yeah, it's a nice car, but just seeing stuff like that, it's got me thinking that maybe it's for the best that we just have all this here. I mean, it's providing stable stuff from a family. Cindy can make such wonderful things. We got food. Yes, folks don't have that.
Does this red string lead anywhere, or is it just like materializing?
It seems to. It's the kind of thing where you blink and your vision clears and you realize that you're really looking. Sometimes you choose to look and sometimes you choose to look. And this is the kind of thing you can see when you look. And it's less that it's leading somewhere, but more that seems to have been woven in.
So this is almost like when you have a spider web right in front of your vision, how if you look at anything beyond it, you won't see it, but if you focus in, you can see it just in front of you and everything else kind of blurs around?
Matilda's sight is more like focusing in on something and concentrating.
I would like to spend an XP to use an intrusion.
Lovely.
I'm going to use sudden vision. A flash of insight provides me with a clear answer or suggests course of action with regard to an urgent question, problem, or obstacle. So I would like to use this to understand the nature of the ritual or the spell that's being cast.
Sure. Beautiful. Thank you for
Good
that.
use.
Good use indeed.
Oh, thank you.
Seeing the red thread here, and also having seen the dolls in person, one thing that you can really harp on is the knowledge of good, honest work. And this is a working for sure. You recognize the workings of the creation of beings. This is powerful magic. This is not something that just casually comes about. Certainly not with the wrongness you saw at the graveyard. Perhaps that was attracted by the working. And what you see instead is the hand of something greater. Rumblings of unions and hearts and minds being turned behind arguments that just don't hold up. The dolls were placed at older gravestones Members of town, respected, no longer present. Perhaps old enough that they wouldn't be recognized in town. Someone has created beings that hide and move about and spreading offers to certain families. And while Bobby Rivers hasn't been visited yet, he might certainly be on the list. Someone has created something, and they need those graves as their anchors. You get the sense that moving the dolls from the spot, the working has been completed. That will not stop them. Okay. Just some magical energy from touching them is probably what happened.
So like like disturbing.
It's like residual energy. So
Yeah,
for
yeah.
moving it over, what you did was call something else that might feed on that energy.
Got it. Okay.
But for sure, there's now also a wrongness loose in Old Eastbridge.
Okay. So just to make sure I understand. So my understanding is that the dolls were used in some kind of ritual to summon like beings that are now walking amongst the town, with the rumblings of unionizing. If someone's against it, they might be trying to spread sort of like people who like want to stick with the status quo by making offers. Okay. Does this what does this have to do with the red string? Oh, is it that, sorry, does Matilda believe that the red strings are like, they made an agreement and the red strings are like binding them to it?
Yes. And whether or not they realize they made an agreement is one thing. It seems to be binding them and keeping things tied together.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay. So I think Matilda feels like she has all the information she needs at this point. And she knows she's like not welcome in this house. So she's still standing and she's like, John Sr., thank you. And then she just swoops out.
John, what? I don't understand. What do you mean? You were telling me the other day. Listen here. You said it yourself that we have better conditions. That Sarah.
You know, Bobby,
bless her soul.
sometimes, Bobby, the conversations that we have in private are best kept in private. And maybe, there's a lot of people here.
What do you want me to do with the stuff on the grave?
Okay, Doc.
I didn't put it there. It's, it sounds kind of creepy, not gonna lie. If you wouldn't mind just kind of clearing it off, that'd help. Just
Let me know if anyone comes by to visit. And then it just awkwardly cuts off, turns, and then goes to go put his shoes back on.
I think Matilda is like standing in the doorway. She hasn't like fully left the house yet. And she's gonna be like, this man, what did he look like?
it's kind of short. It's kind of, reddish hair. Very nice suit. It's like, it has to be.
What color was the suit?
What was that charcoal gray kind of pinstripe deal?
Short red hair,
Had
charcoal, and
It's really nice hat.
Ooh, a hat.
It's really fashionable there.
Well, thank you for allowing us to disturb you.
Yeah.
I'm sure everything's fine.
If you don't mind, we're gonna have dinner.
Yes, indeed. We should go.
And I feel like you have been put out enough already, so I'll leave you all to it. But
Oh.
thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Doc.
And this gentleman, he didn't leave anything, by the way, that you would want thrown out or something like that?
Oh, we just came, had a nice chat, and left.
There's just a scam going around sometimes where salespeople, they'll leave a sample and then they use that as a way to break in. So just be careful. keep an eye out.
Thanks. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah, we'll take off.
Cindy comes out. Oh, you're not staying. She hands you a casserole dish.
Oh,
It's
still
not.
hot.
Yeah, sorry. Here's, and she puts a towel around it.
Okay.
It's not the gelatine that I promised. I'm still working on that. I don't quite have the recipe right. It's a little soupy.
That's absolutely okay. And actually, I have something for you as well.
Oh.
I'm going to reach in and I'm going to pull out one of my ciphers, and it is it's cough syrup. It's real cough syrup. And in presenting this to her, the intention is really, while this is absolutely medicine and medicine of the 1920s, it has protective qualities that are a little bit more than just medicinal, and also more than cocaine. It's while maybe Tommy doesn't necessarily understand that, the elements that were brought in from the book that he has really have infused something more in this, and the intention is to protect this family as much as possible.
Oh.
You're just always giving me food, and I know that, you know, even though it's June, there's the summer colds and things like that, so just in case it comes up. Don't use it yet, but just keep it around.
Thank you. I'll get you one of my spinach cakes. And she like goes
A different time, and I'll take off.
While they have this interaction, can I quietly try to pull John aside and just whisper to him something real quick?
Go ahead.
John, this man, did he threaten your family?
No, just impressed upon me the good things that the Grayson family and the Mills have done for us. And really, Bobby, you should maybe stop with all this. This they asked about you.
Did?
Yeah, they might have asked if someone had a problem and they might just need, you know, maybe a little pep talk. So, you know, someone might be visiting. I know sometimes your house is a little messy, so you might want to make sure it's a little cleaned up.
It's not my fault, it's Jimmy.
I know. The Jimmy's man, Junior in particular, is just, you maybe want to wash his underwear. It's a little bit of a smell. Some of the other boys are complaining.
No.
But,
I'll throw him in the river.
yeah, he might be visiting. So you might want to clean him. It is a nice chap. It just wants to let, you know, make sure all your worries are assuaged. And with your prior check, making sure all your worries are assuaged.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's some weird talk from John. You're a good kid, Bobby. You just need a little guidance.
I understand those words separately.
Don't worry, I'm gonna say, Bobby, I know I told you you need to slow down, but we gotta get going.
Oh, sorry, we're just, talking about Junior. John, see you at the
Bobby?
mill sometime.
Doc? Headmistress, thank you. Dennis? We're gonna have dinner, if that's alright. You can just see yourselves out.
My rubber boots are on, I'm already outside.
I'm trying to be the last person, and as they close the door shut, I'm just gonna be like, sorry about her. I'm just gonna shut the door.
As soon as we're outside, Matilda says to Bobby, or like she's talking to Bobby, but like not trying to hide anything from the group. She's gonna be like, Bobby, listen very carefully and tell me if you don't understand what I say, okay? I think that someone is going to visit you, just like they visited the Sullivans. They're going to make you offers. They're going to try to persuade you to give up your work. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do not engage with them.
Well, lucky for you, Headmistress, I'm not really good at listening to people.
That's very good, Bobby. Make sure that you use that skill.
So now I'm confused. If you're telling
you're
me not
listening
to listening to people.
When
not-
you okay, if you meet a stranger, is this the kind of town where like everyone knows everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I look around. Is there a
listen.
Buick around?
Go ahead and give me a perception-based task. It's
He stopped listening
20.
to me. Now I told him to not listen and he stopped listening.
He may not be smart, but he's great at listening.
Nat
Just tell
20.
him not to.
Thankfully, with the Cypher system, I don't have to reward nat 20s with magical happenings. I can reward it with XP points. So, natural 20, there is your XP token. There is no Buick around. But I will say, Bobby Rivers, it's quiet. It's 7:30. It's getting darker, sure. There's a couple trucks trundling around. But you should hear kids. You should hear factory equipment. It's quiet.
Hey guys, listen here. Something's fluky. It's not usually this quiet.
We should go to the other side of the river. Something tells me work's not done yet tonight. And he just starts like striding with his long legs.
Very well.
What's on the other side of the river?
My garden, for one, which I'd like to visit if we are doing some investigating. But also the graveyard.
Okay.
And a malevolent spirit, don't
For the record, I don't think that there's anything malevolent or spiritual about any of this, but Bobby has already cut himself 4 times today, so I'm going to come and make sure that Bobby is okay. No
Thanks,
other
Doc.
reason.
Fine. We're sorting. I'm not going to talk.
Something's up with John. His attitude about the company has turned 180.
Men don't change that fast.
I can recognize when someone's being manipulated magically. I didn't want to scare him or say anything in the house because not everybody respects the old ways.
You did a very good job being subtle and discreet.
Someone is manipulating people who are talking about unions. I don't think there's time for subtlety.
Agreed.
Wait, I talk
But I
about
don't
you.
think it's spirits. Not you, Bobby. It's okay.
I suppose it doesn't matter what it is. We need to protect the people of this town.
We can agree on that.
Do you got flowers?
Excuse me.
Do you got flowers?
In my garden? It's a vegetable garden.
You also have flowers.
Yeah, but yes, I have a few.
Good. We're gonna need them.
We are?
Do
Do I understand this?
Do we need flowers? I can go pick some flowers.
We can obtain, I'm sure, what we need from my garden, but do I get what he thinks we need flowers for?
And Dennis is thinking that there are unattended graves that have been visited by some malevolent spirit, and also there is another grave related to this situation that probably hasn't been visited in a while. And so maybe putting some flowers on some relevant graves would be, at the very least, a kind thing to do.
I see. So flowers for the graveyard makes sense.
Are there any wildflowers nearby?
I would say with your skills, sure.
I start picking
there's
some flowers.
some dandelions, some clovers, and
Tiny little bouquet.
yeah.
That suits me because my flowers are best used in other ways.
But you do know, Matilda, that some yarrow would not be misplaced in this bouquet. And you do have quite a few yarrow blossoms this time of year.
I'll make a note to grab some.
So as you all sorkin back towards Old Eastbridge, moving past, the homes of these two fine gents over here, and stopping at the schoolhouse to grab some flowers.
Is there... can I surreptitiously grab some more bloodroot? Oh, it needs to be dried for it to be success. Okay, so never mind. Well, I'm just gonna pick one and put it in my pocket, so it can start drying.
Certainly. I would say you have a store of dried bloodroot, but you do know it takes about 2 hours of working.
Okay, so I don't bother picking one.
You have to sew a whole new bag, embroider it, and takes some time.
I'll do it later.
Dennis, I got a bouquet of dandelions and clover. I got a little bit of blood on it. I'm
I
sorry.
think that's poison ivy.
Matilda, gently pulls out the poison ivy and replaces it with the yarrow.
And what's the color of thread that you tie that bouquet together with?
Do I have a sense of which color is most appropriate?
No, but you have some threads you can choose from, and you can hand them over to Bobby to tie.
Not red.
Not red. Any specific colors? It's up to you.
Yellow.
You chose wrong.
Inability in the crafting of magic. So you get some yellow threads to tie these bouquets together. And Bobby, I would love for you to make a speed check with the tying of knots. It's going to be fairly simple, just a 1, unless never mind.
Wait, what?
It's routine for you.
Ah,
You can tie knots real good.
And if you would like, Bobby, you can make a level 1 check for some additional things.
just make a level 1 check.
So it's target number 3.
This dice is on fire!
I know. What is that?
Nat
4 natural
20.
20s on the side of the table, or like between you two.
My
This
goodness.
is our system.
I'm loving this system so far.
As he's walking along, you notice that Bobby shivers rivers. His hands are really dexterous. Look at the lad go. Those are some very impressive knots. He's tied some different chains and loops to craft a really lovely, almost embroidered like knot chain around each of the little bouquets that he's picked. And you feel some sense of power coming from that. And it's warm, and you feel it too, Doc. It's a calming feeling. Matilda, you look. As you've been kind of keeping track of some red threads, you see the knot that had been forming around Valrose's wrist begin to loosen a little bit and start to come undone. You head towards the graveyard, and I would like everyone to give me a perception check. This will be a level 4, unless you have...
This is intellect?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you are trained in perception or seeing hidden things.
I am trained in seeing hidden things. Well, okay, so I can, with See the Unseen, I can always see things that are hidden magically, like invisibility, but I have, I'm trained in seeing things that are hidden conventionally.
Okay. I would say it's a bit of column A and column B. So we're going to go with hidden conventionally.
How long has it been since I rang my bell?
Long enough.
Okay.
It was a 1 day? Is that 1 hour? Is that what we said?
3 hours?
3 hours.
It's 1 hour per level.
It's still active.
Oh, nice.
13. Or sorry, 12.
How many hours has it? Oh, sorry, 3.
3. So it's been almost 3 hours. So it's almost up, but it's
Oh,
the
but right,
blood root package is
It's
done.
Yeah.
13?
Yeah. 12.
12?
Sorry, 12.
9.
9?
No, it's, I rolled a 12, but I have training in perception.
All right.
So I forget what number that is.
So that is a meets it beats it for you. No, sorry. If you trained in it, it's 9. So you have a 12, and you rolled a 3.
3.
Cool. So
Classic.
I don't see no nothing.
As soon as magic shows up, blind.
you don't see nothing.
I don't see no nothing.
So I dropped my glasses.
Yeah.
Two of you. You see Dennis as you're kind of leading the way to the correct grave. that itch comes back, that little tingling, that sense of wrongness. It's back. And there are more. Something that Matilda did with that doll attracted it. That's what she told you. And you sense that there's more here now. And with the ringing of your bell still echoing around in the trees, although you don't hear it anymore, you see the blinking of orbs over there, over there, and over there. Now, for you, you see them, but you don't know what that is. You've heard people talk about wolves, because these are big. Maybe they're wolves, but the light, as it's fading, is not enough to cause the reflection like that. It's not completely dark. You're still able to see without the assistance of lanterns or lights. But there's some reflecting eyes happening. 3 pairs around the graveyard as you grow deeper in, and they seem to be following you.
Dennis takes out a shovel, like, grips a shovel and, like, a two-handed grip and goes, we got company.
My hands are going to go into my pockets just around the various things that I have. I'm going to actually try to surreptitiously slide the straight razor out of my shaving kit.
All right.
How surreptitious is he? Because
Not super.
good at noticing
I
things.
got to take it out of my bag.
You see this happen.
And then I put it back
Unless
in
you
my
want to
pocket.
roll a stealth.
No, I'm not being super stealthy about it. I mean, I don't think that they're gross. I think they're wolves. And
Yeah.
a straight razor's going to hurt a wolf.
She's just gonna raise an eyebrow.
Company?
But she does grip her umbrella a little tighter.
Company? Like someone from the company?
Not
Buick?
that kind. Not that kind.
I would love for everyone to go ahead and roll initiative.
Oh, no.
Now what?
I'm traded
How do
initiative.
we do that?
As long
It's a
as it's
D20.
not social. Oh, I rolled terribly.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Natural 20.
So, very nice.
Nice.
4?
4.
Beautiful.
Fatty natty 1.
No.
Oh no.
Yes. 1 to give away. Because it's not for you when it's not 1.
Thank you.
So, I also rolled a 4, but I'm trained in initiative. I don't know how that helps.
It's a speed roll is what it ends up being. So, I think...
I'm trained in initiative as long as it's not socially related.
Yeah, the Cypher System initiative is a little confusing to me, so we will come back to this.
Alright.
It's just like,
Oh, it's just a flat 20. It just
Yeah.
determines the order people take their action.
yeah. I think
So-
maybe it would just break that. So go ahead and we got, I'm gonna need to write things down. I don't have a pen back here that will write on this.
Oh, what kind of...
Uh-huh.
Oh. This back door is right over there.
Like one of
Thank
these.
you. Alright, so we have a natural 20 for Matilda. Dennis, you got a
4.
4.
Hey, I got a 4.
So Dennis is gonna go before, quote unquote, before Doc Rose, and you got a
A 1.
1. That's right. Okay. So the
I
way
don't see no
Cypher
none.
System initiative works is we have, obviously we go in order, but if you have a string of players together in initiative, you can all act like cooperatively.
Cool.
It's not tied exclusively to turns. So I'm going to look for a good battle music. Not that one. Does Hell's Rebels seem like it might be a good one here?
Yeah, sure.
I like the bells.
All right. So this is how it's going to work out. Matilda, you're going first with an additional bonus action So you get combat actions, you have attack, you have defend, you have move, you have wait to just declare a trigger with the PC, and then the PC action occurs first. A special ability like your focus ability, using an item or doing just something else. You'll note that we don't have a battle map. That's because of many reasons, but first of all, distance doesn't quite matter in this. We're going to play this narratively today. There's immediate distance, which is anything between 0 and 10 feet. Short distance, which is 10 to 50 feet. Long distance, which is 50 to 100, and very long, which is 100 to 500, which, we're off the map at that point.
Okay. And so
You have at this point identified that things are here. You've seen Mr. Rose pull out his straight razor. You see Dennis kind of looking around. And I think that would clue you in that there are things here. And while you haven't seen them yet, because you don't quite know where they are, you know you will be able to see them when they pop out.
Okay. So I am going to hold an action to spend an XP to use Magic Surge, which allows me to reactivate a Cypher that is spent. And I can either use its function again, or I can use it to do something useful to my current situation. So I'm going to hold my action to do that, and the thing that I'm going to do is cause harm to a foe, which I will describe when it happens, as soon as I can, as soon as a foe does something hostile, I'm going to let off the Magic Surge.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So we come to our foes that do something hostile.
Pew!
So, Matilda, you are watching and you see a shape begin to coalesce in the form of a clawed hand that comes out and seems to be reaching towards Mr. Bobby Rivers here, who is standing at the edge of the group. Just a single sinuous tendril of smoke that coalesces into claws as it seems to come towards Mr. Bobby here.
Okay, so can I trigger my Magic Surge so you see her do one of these things, and then pew, and she sends off a magical force bolt, an Eldritch Blast, toward the hand with the goal of pooping it.
With the goal of pooping.
Yes, and I'm going to give you that to
Beautiful.
pay for
Go
that.
ahead. This is going to be an intellect roll around the using of magic.
Oh, I'm so good at that.
It's going to be a level 3.
Which is I'm gonna use a point to.
So with a level 3, and because you have the using of magic, you are trained, it's a level 2 for you.
Oh, okay. So,
If you want to spend effort, it'll make it a level 1.
well, I'm gonna use a point of intellect for my pool. Oh no, sorry, 2 points.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's using your effort
Yeah.
to ease the task.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna do that. So now it's down to a level 1, just in case. 4.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Good decision.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God. Okay.
Thomas Rose, you feel a burst of something, a wind that feels like a summer breeze burst out from Matilda Stone. Not really something you associate with Matilda Stone, a summer breeze. You more think of winter's deathly chill.
Yeah.
But the smell of summer and days by the river suffuses the air around the four of you as a blast from Matilda sends out. And let's see. You see the claws are kind of smacked away for a bit. And I'm going to say that it does damage, but also eases the task of defense that Bobby is going to have to roll.
Right.
So Bobby, if you could please roll a defense roll. That's going to be a speed.
What's the difficulty?
It's a level 3.
I'm gonna spend. Let's see. I'm gonna apply a level of effort for speed, so it'll be 2. Oh no! I rolled a 3.
Oh dear.
Which unfortunately does not succeed. And you feel these claws rake into you, and while it's not visible, really, it's just smoke. You see it rake across Mr. River's shirt here, and his sleeve gets torn and blood wells from the wound as you are dealt 3 points of damage. It comes out of your pools.
My pool first, right?
You can choose, I believe.
Alright.
Oh, that's what Hell's Rivals is. Next up, we have the 3 of you. You can go in any order you choose. You can work together. But it would be, if you wanted to just go in an order, it would be Dennis, Doc, Rivers.
Okay.
Alright, so I think Dennis' plan is gonna look to see which one is the closest. But then seeing that one already attacked Bobby, if it's within like walking distance, he's just basically gonna go walk up to it and slap it with the shovel.
Okay. Movement is an action. Okay. So there is one that's in immediate distance with Bobby, and there's 2 more that are in short distance. So you can move the short distance to get closer, or you can go with the one that's next to Bobby.
Okay. I go with the one that's next to Bobby and basically just say duck and then just swing with the shovel.
Awesome. It's a level 3 for that attack.
Okay, so this is gonna be a might roll.
We're about to learn if the shovel actually hurts ghosts.
Right? I've been looking forward to seeing the shovel in action.
Alright. So I rolled a 17.
Ooh!
And then I also get +1 to melee weapons. So
Yes, you do. So you get +1 to melee weapons. You also get +1 from the 17. Fun rolls from Cypher System. Thank you, Cypher System. And weirdly enough, Dennis Poplar reaches out with a shovel, and you see this polished wood gleam in the twilight as Dennis whacks right over Bobby's head, grazing some of the little hairs on his head, as it whacks into the smoke, and you see it dissipate and shriek as the eyes pop out of existence. And that is 1 gone. 2. The other 2 are short distance away, and that is Dennis's action. So we can do it.
What distance away are the dolls, or the graves with the dolls?
The graves with the dolls. The graves with the dolls are also short distance being 10 to 50 feet.
Fantastic. So one of the things that I want to go over to the dolls, and there's one that was like tipped over.
Mm-hmm.
God, this could be really good or really bad. I have my straight razor in my hand, right?
Oh god.
I'm gonna go over, and I don't really believe in magic, but something is going on here. So I'm gonna take the straight razor out. I'm gonna attack the doll.
All right. So I'm gonna say this is a 2-part thing.
Okay.
We are going to say that the movement and the attack
Okay.
is going to be a difficulty 4 speed task.
Difficulty 4 speed task.
This is to move the distance and get off a slash.
Okay.
And then we will resolve what happens next on the next round.
I'm just gonna move. Okay.
faith.
Is that cocked?
It looks bad.
Hooray.
No, I think that was a 20.
It was an 18. Yeah.
Oh no.
10.
A 10?
Not
All right. You are able to get close to the doll, but as you get forward, you're just not quite fast enough for this round. You can handle the slashing on the next round.
Sounds good.
Then we come to Bob. You've just been slashed at and told to duck, and thankfully you did, as Dennis got off a swing and dispatched of the creature next to you.
Did I do I see more creatures, or did I see what they got rid of that slashed me?
You did, and you see 2 more pairs of eyes off in a short distance. So a short distance being 10 to 50 feet.
Let's see. I wanna. Alright, so in my hand I'm holding the bouquet, and I'm like, ah! And then I'm realizing it's just a bouquet. So I am going to, chuck a throwing knife at one of the spirits at a short distance away.
A throwing knife?
A throwing
You
knife.
have a throwing knife?
Yes.
In your regular old inventory?
Yeah. Fuck it, throwing knife. I think
Oh my
the Explorer
God.
said I start with a weapon of my choice, and I
So you
chose
chose
throwing
a
knife.
throwing knife.
Well,
Wonderful.
it's my
A
little,
fish.
It's my little knife, but it's a throwing knife.
I love
He's
this.
never thrown it before.
Just became.
All right, this,
Sorry, it
levels
was a
up.
knife,
It
and then when I
levels
threw it, it became a throwing knife.
this just came out of nowhere. I'm like, Bobby's got a throwing knife? Oh my god, this
Sure can.
Anything, like, I feel like throwing now, anything could do that.
throwing does.
I have a
does
throwing
suck.
umbrella.
Yes. This is going to be a level 3 speed task, please.
Oh, that's so funny.
And if you are trained in weapons, that does indeed ease the task.
And it's also a light weapon. Does that? I think I read that.
Are you trained in light weapons?
Yes.
Then yes, it does.
Alright. And the fact that it's a light weapon, I think it's supposed to ease the task as well.
It does.
So it's a
A
difficulty 1.
It's a difficulty 1.
Alright. 5. Oh my good, thank goodness.
Yes, indeed.
Alright. I no longer have a throwing knife, by the way.
You see the knife passes
Not
through
yet.
one of these shadows, and you see it rips through. You hear an unearthly shriek as the shape kind of begins to coalesce again. It seems like it did something, but it's not gone yet.
Question. I think I read that you can apply a level of effort to do a little bit more damage. Do I have to decide that before or after the roll?
I will allow it because we're learning. If you want to add some damage to it,
Yeah, I will apply a level of effort of speed to do extra damage. I don't remember the amount. I think it
I
was
think
like...
it's 1. Okay.
Oh, no, it says here level of effort 3 damage instead of easing.
Oh,
I chuck it real hard.
you do chug it
No
real
one makes
hard.
me bleed my own blood.
My goodness, a level of effort to good lord. Yeah, it does. That shriek is bad, man. That like hurts the ears. That seems like it did quite a bit. All right, that brings us right back to the top of the round with Matilda.
Okay. Matilda is going to.
Make a clap out of razors.
Well, okay, it's not that. She's gonna use her push ability to try to push one of the 2 ghosties farther away so that it's easier to like engage one at a time. And so she's gonna do that. Costs 2 intellect points.
All right.
And again, this is like that.
You see some odd like hand gestures
Magic.
coming from Ms. Stone as she kind of like flicks her wrist, and you hear like mutterings of an incantation. It's feels very incantation-like. There's something very specific about the words she says as she pushes things away, and I would love for you to think about what those words are for next session.
Los Libros.
It's man. And you watch as one of the shadows gets pushed 10 feet from the other, creating a little bit of distance, meaning that you can probably take on one of these things at a time. All right. Now we come to the wrongness. You see the one that has been pushed 10 feet kind of begins to move towards Ms. Stone here. And it's
Headmistress Stone.
Please, it's Headmistress. Cara, please.
I'm sorry, Headmistress Stone.
Thank you.
Headmistress, you see it moves closer towards you. It's still short distance away, but it is closing. you get the sense that you pushed it a little bit further than it could move closer to you. So it's probably about 15 feet away. The other one is going to head towards Rivers, who did the most damage. And it gets closer to you, and you see it as it moves. It kind of fizzles out from existence, and you see the smoke kind of dissipate a little bit. And you kind of lose sight of that one. Actually, go ahead and give me a level 4 perception check. That's intellect.
Not good at that. Ooh, 17.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
Oh, we see it.
You see the smoke begin to move closer to you, and it's in immediate range for you. All right, that brings us to these three.
Do I see the smoke that's now at an immediate range to Bobby?
Free perception check.
I rolled a 7, but I am training it.
So it's a level 4, so a 7 will not do it.
Yep. All right. So, thinking everything's fine. You gotta move towards. The
Wait, your bell is still active.
It is still active.
You see it.
I do see it. Actually.
No check necessary.
Okay. Cool. See, and then I moved. Another one came by. He's just gonna swing the other way.
Beautiful. Go ahead and give me a swing. A level 3 might check. Eased, of course, if you are trained in your weapons. You
I am.
medium weapon.
Okay. So, you said a level 3, so it'd be level 2. I'm going to spend a might point. So I rolled like doo-doo.
What was that roll, by the way?
It do be.
7.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a 1, but it was lower than average. So, lower than I would like it to be this close to an ally.
Oh my goodness.
So,
This time you forgot to say duck.
second swing. So, so it's a total of 7. Does what? And I eased it.
And you eased it, so that does indeed do damage. And you see this shovel comes out. Bobby, you have just enough time to kind of get out of the way as Dennis's shovel comes once more. You feel the wind kind of like push up against your face as you're like, and you see it's the wrongness is knocked a little bit and seems to sway, but still fine. Go ahead. The rest of you two.
I take out my Not my next.
Yeah.
I take out my the fishing knife that my father gave me, and I attack the shadow next to me.
Beautiful.
And I yell out, "What are these things?"
Go ahead and give me a level 3
Then
might
the cloud
check.
breaker, then the katana.
Yeah.
Any way I can.
Are you
Use
trained
speed.
in small light weapons?
Yes.
There you go.
Well, anyway, it could be a speed.
No.
If I just attack it fast.
No.
Oh man.
This is a melee attack.
If I talk fast.
All right. And it's ease because I'm trained in light, and it's also ease because it's a light weapon. So difficulty 1. Ooh, 19.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
Think it's
You scream, "What are these things?" as another shriek from the nearby wrongness as it evaporates into smoke that just carries off on the wind. Less intentional than the smoke you saw dissipating before. This is obviously just a cloud. That leaves one wrongness. And one
So,
player.
holding this doll, I like quickly look behind me.
Oh, you're holding the doll.
Or what? I reached it, right? So I'm not holding.
You reached it.
Looking at the doll, looking back behind me, I see that there's only one of these like wrongnesses or whatever. Is there still any noticeable difference to the dolls?
Nope.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna slash this doll.
I'm gonna slash the doll.
Yeah.
All right. It is a simple enough task. It's just a doll.
Yeah.
That's all you slash. What is your intention with this slash?
My intention with this slash is I have no idea what's going on. This is some kind of a animal I don't understand or whatever, but clearly something is drawing them here. And so if I can destroy these things that Mr. Poplar said had just occurred and had brought them, maybe this will keep them from coming back.
Okay, which doll are you choosing?
The one that fell over.
The Sullivan doll.
Yeah.
All right. You are. It is easy enough for you to slash. I need. Let's go. This is pretty difficult. Let's go with a level 6 using magic intellect check. What this does is to get the desired effect of solving this problem that you're having. You, for sure, can slash the doll apart.
I would like to first use one of my intellect pools to decrease the difficulty.
Okay.
I would then also like to use Karma, which is a special ability where I can use a recovery roll to gain aid at the GM's discretion, because in this moment I need some kind of help. And so thinking back to all the good things that I've done, I help out this kid and all these other folks, and Bobby 4 times today now, definitely at least a 5th coming. I want to also in some way use a recovery roll for aid. I
All
don't
right.
know what that means, but that's the text.
We will manage that off screen.
Cool.
Here's what we're gonna say. Part of that, you remember stories from your mother. Your mother who passed when you were very young. She told you stories that your father didn't really enjoy her telling. It's like some hoodoo magic bullshit. But it kind of planted seeds in your head of severing ties and cleaving through workings. Go ahead and make that roll.
Okay. That's gonna be a 5.
And that was a roll to ease. How much was it eased?
Oh, sorry. That was eased by 1.
And your train.
Wait, was that my recovery roll?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
No,
so
no, that was the recovery roll. I think Karma eases it by 2.
I have no idea. It just says use a recovery roll to gain aid at GM discretion. But I don't know what a recovery roll is.
Interesting.
The recovery roll is a d6 roll to recover from your pool, and it takes more and more time, X number of times you use it in a day.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a d6 for me.
3.
All right. So I will say that eases the task by 2.
Okay.
Plus you're trained in using magic.
I am.
And then you used some points from your intellect pool to ease it by another 1.
Correct.
So that's a level 2, which is a 6.
Yeah, still missed it by 1.
You can, as a reminder, spend the XP for a reroll.
Oh, I do have an XP. It's on my tray. That's why I forgot it. I'm gonna go ahead and spend that XP for a reroll. 9.
Nice!
There we go.
Woo! While it doesn't make the wrongness go away, and Matilda, you feel this blast of something being cut and dispelled, and you see, as you look over towards this direction, the thread around Thomas Rose's wrist frays and dissipates. The Sullivan doll is just plainly slashed. But you are knocked back on your feet, off of your feet, onto your ass. Something that doesn't happen very often. You don't get into fights like this. You are a man with his head on straight. You know the rules, you know the science, that's what you do. You're here for neighborliness. You don't throw punches. But to be knocked on your ass by this power and this wave that hits you in the face, you feel you have drawn the attention of the wrongness with the magic that has happened here, this working. And while you don't believe in it, something has happened that's beyond your understanding. And something good has indeed happened. And I'm going to...
Thanks for that reminder there, buddy.
Indeed, and I'm going to intrude. Because he has an easy... There is sticky tack all the way in this bead. I'm going to intrude. So there's 1 for you. And 1 for somebody of your choosing. And I would love...
Thank you.
We gotta keep the resources dispersed.
Yeah, for sure.
for you to give me a reflexes defense of level 3.
Level 3?
Mm-hmm.
And so... Oh, man. Cool. Oh, so close to good. That's gonna be a natural one.
Oh, buddy.
I have this experience that I just earned. Can I go ahead and burn that?
You can't burn it for a GM intrusion. I'm
That makes
so
sense, yeah,
sorry.
that makes
That cannot be refused. But here's one to give to somebody else.
Reminder.
What I am going to say is that you see this wrongness speed towards you from across the graveyard as it comes for you, the working of this most magical power. And you see it wraps a hand around you and begins to pull at you. And you are dealt 6 points of damage as you feel this cold black shadow burn into you.
Is there any particular kind, or do I choose?
You choose.
Okay.
All right, that brings us back to the top of the round with Matilda. Matilda, something has changed here. You feel it deep in your bones, your very venerable bones. Headmistress, you see not one of your favorite students, but a former student is in trouble.
Matilda is going to pull out a stone from her pocket and puts it on her palm and whispers, and with that, the stone becomes a toad, which leaps toward the wrongness, and with a single flick of its tongue, deals 7 damage and hinders all its actions for the next round.
Tell us how it happens.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, the toad kind of leaps toward it and does its little flick, and there's kind of like orbish eyes, right? So the toad tongue goes through the 2 eyes and then it hops off into the woods.
Just for everyone looking, this toad is 3 feet high.
Yeah.
Whoa, that is a much larger toad than I was imagining.
Yeah. It's a revenge toad.
Oh, dang.
And Thomas, you see this huge toad tongue approaching from Matilda's direction. Now something your eyes can no longer deny. There is a giant toad in front of you. And it just flicks its tongue out, licks up the eyes, and laps it up before hopping off into the woods. And that takes us out of initiative.
What has Tim been putting in the soda?
Thomas, good work. Destroy the other 2, quick.
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna. I'm gonna plant my feet and I'm going to slash.
Wait.
I'm not gonna wait though.
All right.
I quickly shove my jag. Use this for luck. A jag of luck into his left pocket.
Beautiful. Go ahead, and it's going to be 2 level 6 using magic tasks.
Using magic things, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, luckily I just have maybe a couple other things. 1 second here. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and make that first one. It's level 6, and this is what kind? Speed?
Intellect.
Intellect. I'm gonna go ahead and use one of my points there. So this is 5. That's a 13. And does it go down 1 more because this is magic?
Mm-hmm.
So 4. What is the DC on that?
A level 4 would be 12.
Love it.
Nice.
And then the second one
Go for it.
is 12.
Beautiful.
That also a success.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh wait, no, it's not. Because you have to use it again. It's once per roll.
Oh, then yeah, no problem. I'll definitely use that again.
All right.
We efforting.
The dolls lie
She's a
destroyed
whole
in front of you. And trundling past, you hear a car go by. It doesn't come to the graveyard, but the wrongnesses are gone. The dolls are destroyed.
Can we see who's driving the Buick?
It's too far away.
She
You just hear the car.
Buick. She just said car.
No, but I'm guessing.
And that is where we're going to end this evening.
Very nice.
And we will come back next week to the town of Eastbridge and Iron and Thorn. Goodbye.
Great work, Cara.
Hi.